America's working class has been cheated. That is an assertion.
Open border coordinate. That's a Koch brothers proposal.
And the Democrats jumped right on board with the corporatists. They got in bed with Wall Street, military-industrial complex, the fossil fuels, Silicon Valley. And now look what happened to the country. We have the biggest income disparity since the Gilded Age. Bigger than that. There's more.
Expanded trade has thrown the working class into much more competition than they experienced before trade with lower wage countries took off.
Can say is that as a country, we have to make a different set of choices because the choices we've made have hurt working people.
Congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Hello, and welcome to another Institute for Sound Public Policy podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Lynn, and today I'm joined by a co-host and two really interesting guests to give us a perspective we don't often get to hear, which is how someone here on an employment visa feels about working here in the U.S., the conditions of that visa, and how that conflicts or helps policy. As I'd mentioned, I have a co-host. I am joined by John Robert of Connecticut Tech Workers. John and I have had great fun poking at the man. We first came into contact with each other with Governor Lamont's terrible giveaway to Infosys. John, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. This is going to be great having you. Great meeting you guys too. It's great to meet on common ground and talk about mutual issues. So thanks for attending.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having us here. The intention of me being here is to, first of all, share the things that I feel can be improved, and our intention here is to bring clarity on improving the lives of everyone and ensuring there is justice and there is freedom for people who come, for the new Americans and for the people who come to this country with a lot of hope, and how we can improve the whole system, the policy together to create better lives for people.
Great. And I'll just give you a brief intro. That is Atal Agrawal. He works in the Bay Area as a product manager. He's also an Ironman athlete with 5 years experience with Business Solver, eHealth, Castlight Health. Atal built the first COVID-19 test finder that supported Google and Apple Maps and state health departments, including New York, Michigan, Oregon, Nevada, New Jersey during the pandemic. And we're also joined by ODI. Now, that's an acronym. Much like my buddy KMO, who I've had on the podcast many times, he goes by KMO. ODI is ODI, representing Origin Discriminated Immigrants of the USA. And he's been working in the United States since 2010, working as a lead in software engineering. And we're really looking forward to chatting with you, gentlemen. So to start things off, Adi, let's start with you. What kind of visa did you arrive on the U.S. on? What part of India did you grow up in? Why did you select a career in STEM? Things like that.
Yeah, thanks for giving the opportunity and sharing our journey and what we feel after living in 13 years in the USA. But yeah, basically in India, I just started my career in the Delhi, and I was just working there for just 8 years. I also worked on the UK for just 2.5 years. And till the time exactly, obviously, all the big Silicon Valley company exactly lies in the USA. So obviously, most of the people who want to just work and advance in their career, there is a dream that, okay, we want to work on those companies also, right? And again, all world just we know that people follow for the American dream. That's what we all hear about that. So
Now, were you
basically, I
working
came to the
for
USA
a
on.
U.S. flag company in India, Audie?
No, I was working for just like a Indian company, but it is basically serving for the British Telecom, the UK company, and US company also. So it is kind of a project by project based of what exactly the work is required.
Now, how did you get to the
So
United States?
yeah, so on USA exactly, I came to on H-1B visa, okay, and I started working from 2010 onwards. I was in the Texas and then finally moved from last 10 years exactly. I am living in the East Coast, New Jersey side.
Mm-hmm. And what
So
industry are you working in?
yeah, it's mainly the telecom software company, but yeah, basically our division is software. Yeah.
Okay. And Atal, how did you
So I
get
will
to
just like to give
what's
you.
your story? How did you get to the United States?
Yeah, happy to share. You asked right at the time when I was about to
Yeah,
pull
of course. I
up
know.
the.
I'm about to go for my mugs too.
I saw you with your mug, and I was like, actually, let me pour some coffee as you're hearing Addy's story. Yeah, but thank you for this chance to have me here. My story is kind of like a little different. I grew up in India, not part of India, near Delhi, and I was always there, also kind of into activism and bringing change in a democracy. And then I went to IIT in India, that is like the east part of India.
So
It's like a
that's the Indian Institute of Technology.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's a
Now,
top.
correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
And I do know a little bit about ITT. I think it was founded in the 1950s, and it's considered the premier university in India. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So the vision of IIT is now there are like around 21 colleges all across the country with called as IIT and at different locations. I went to the one which was the first of all IITs. This is
Main
like
campus.
yeah, it's like a big campus, 2,200 acres in the east part of India. It's called as IIT Kharagpur. And these IITs were established as Indian Institute of Technology to promote science and technology culture in India. It's a part of the vision of the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, and there are like these seeds of that new India in the making. Is how these colleges were established. Getting into IIT is definitely very hard because you have to crack an exam and you have to go through a lot of training for that where you study during your high school. But yeah, once you get into IIT, life is a lot better, and that's what every middle class or lower class kind of like wants their kids to do. Like when everyone wants their kids to be engineers and doctors. Like my dad said that, hey, if you get into IIT, then I don't have to worry about your life at all. So that's what I want you
Yeah,
to
it's
do.
kind of like Harvard, an Ivy League school here in the U.S. Okay.
Yeah. So I went to IIT, and as I went into the campus, I started learning. Like now I'm away from my family. My family is in Delhi, and I was like, now I can do anything I want in this campus. And as I was in that campus, I got a lot of exposure. I started learning about my interest in supporting people and fighting for causes. And slowly, I went to become the student college president in my pre-final year. And I was kind of definitely shocked because when I entered the college, I didn't know how to speak in English. And then I became the representative of the student body at that time, which was a big accomplishment for me. In my pre-final year, something which we don't see in the world happened is one of the most successful person from my college who has built $1 billion company in the US came on a visit, who has like donated like $50 million to IIT Kharagpur, came on a visit, and I had a simple handshake with him. And I said, thank you so much for everything you do for our college. He has like a few schools in his name at our university. And in this relationship, after a few months, he's like, "How about you come to US and work with us?" And then I came on a J1 visa for the first time, and I was
Okay,
like,
so J1, for those who don't know, it is a cultural exchange visa.
"Yes." Yeah, so I came on a J1 visa. I was in Omaha, Nebraska. I loved Omaha, Nebraska. I got a great exposure while
What did you
living.
like best about Omaha?
I think it ended up happening. I was living with a person who is from Omaha, and his family and I would go to church every Sunday, and then I would just like to be absorbed in the culture because I was here to just like learn about American culture. So
Hmm.
that was a great thing to me. And I mean, I would also want to go see a House of Warren Buffett, who also lives who also who also lives in Omaha, Nebraska. But I think I had a great exposure. Got to go to Kansas one time. I think some people from Omaha took us there because we were just like there for a small time. So Omaha was awesome.
Cool.
Um, yeah, that's when after that I went back to India, and I was like very much into doing something for India, creating value for India, entrepreneurship, and doing my own startup. And my mentor who kind of like offered me this J1, he's like, okay, how about you just experience how America is? And I was like, then I came on a tourist visa once, just to experience San Francisco area for a short visit. Did a lot of fun with my friends. I went to different places. And then when I was graduating from IIT, that's when, at the time of graduation, he said, how about you come for masters and I will help sponsor some of your tuition, because of scholarship. And I came to US to UC Santa Barbara to do my masters.
Now,
I
you came on
stayed-
an F1 visa at that time,
yes,
I take it?
yes. I came on an F1 visa that time. Yeah. So I came on an F1 visa. I studied at UC Santa Barbara in Masters in Technology Management. It was like a 1 year course. And then also I was very much into doing something of my own, a startup, and create jobs for people. And I ended up winning a new venture competition at UC Santa Barbara. We made like $15,000. And then I was like, this is my company. I should continue progressing on this. And then we raised some money from angel investors in Santa Barbara. But somehow I realized that idea did not make a lot of sense as a hardware
It
startup.
happened. Hey, I'm the veteran of 2 tech startups.
Okay. And I was like, hey, I talked to the investors and I'm like, hey, I think I want to return your money because I don't want to waste your money and I don't want to waste my time. Let's not waste my time and let's not waste your money. So then I took a job, and that time I was on OPT with F1, and that was my first job at Castlight Health. Then I moved from Castlight to eHealth. In that process, I went through a lot of attempts in the lottery and got my H-1B. And since then, I've been on H-1B, and that's kind of where now I work for Business Solver. But I think at this point, my thinking is more around I wanna find freedom, and I think what is lacking in the current immigration system is I feel very restricted. It's not about whether I want to live in America for how many years. I mean,
Mhm.
for me, these countries are all the same. We are all same human beings. We are all envisioning for the same free world that we have seen, where all of us live a life of liberty and equality and be able to stand up for our communities. I think to me, it's very much about able to find that freedom in America for the time I'm here. And that's where my struggle is, where I'm always feeling like, would I be kicked out of this country with 60-day period? And I mean, I think that is a little ruthless to me, that after someone living for years in this country, you just say them to change their lives entirely within 60 days. Or for someone who wants to create more value, the visa is just so restricted where
Okay,
you can't
let's
do.
get into the H-1B. I'm going to be asking both you and Audie a lot of questions. I'm sure John has some questions. But let me tell you one of my fundamental problems with the H-1B.
Mhm, mhm.
It's designed to be restrictive. It's designed to displace American workers with foreign workers, the vast majority of which come from India. I mean, that's the fact. 73+% come from one country, India. Many hail from one province in India. And it gets very tribal here in the US. And let me give you an example. Back when I was involved with tech companies when I was at Ernst & Young working with IPO bound tech companies in California, and then I was at a tech transfer conference. And at that time, this old guy gets up and he's saying, let me tell you how tech transfer is done in the US. We call it sneaker net. You're working at company A, you go to company B, and you take everything between your ears with you. And that's the way it was. There was an amazing amount of grassroots innovation in the 90s and early 2000s in the Bay Area and in biotech in Southern California. And the problem is they realize these companies that want monopolies, they built themselves up, the Googles of the world, the Facebooks, and they don't want the competition because they know that's how they got started. Some guys in San Francisco at that Starbucks right outside of Salesforce main headquarters, and you got a Java developer behind him, and he's a QA person talking with a database manager, and they get an idea. And like you're saying, Atal, you go forward with it, and then you make the better mousetrap, you win. The H-1B visa was designed in part to stop that. And that's one of my big criticisms of it. And I think you're exactly right. It is highly restrictive, but purposefully so. The way it should work, and Francis Cisna, who for a period of time headed USCIS under Donald Trump, said, the way it should work is this. Let's say you're a company, ABC Corp, and you're doing a job fair at a college, and you meet Atal Agrawal, and you like him. It's like, you like this guy. You want to hire him. You should be able to put in a labor condition application and say, we want this guy. And you should be able to get him. But as you mentioned, it's all lottery based. And because it's lottery based, you're not sorting out the best and the brightest, separating the wheat from the chaff. Now, President Trump, from August to the last hours of his office, had actually changed all that. 3 rule changes were submitted for the H-1B visa program. The biggest one was ending the lottery. And it was going to be based, first dibs would be given to the company willing to pay the highest amount for a foreign worker. And you solve 2 problems. One, you stop the displacement of America with lower skilled foreign workers, because by the time you get down there, you've gone through the 85,000. So you're picking really the best and the brightest. And as Norm Matlock wrote in 2013 in an article for EPI, he said, how do you know you're getting someone who's high skilled? Number 1, high salary. Number 2, you're seeing a high rate of patent production out of that person. PhD dissertation awards, doctorate earned at a top flight university, employed in R&D. So the idea, and then the other thing was they were going to raise that prevailing wage, because we all know prevailing wage, and I'm sure I'd love to hear your stories on it. They're set way too low, and they're designed to be exploitative. And the other thing was changing out the specialty occupations, tightening that up, making sure that these are positions that there are no Americans that can be found to do. So that's my take on the H-1B visa and how it relates to, a lot of concerns for Americans and how it should be working, but isn't working. And Odie, Atal, would love to hear your experiences and thoughts on the H-1B.
Yeah, basically, in my view, I think we can just discuss how exactly H-1B can be improved. I don't think just by increasing the salary and all those things, it can be fixed. However, we are discussing more about the employment-based green card, okay?
Right.
Because people have been brought in the USA on these H-1B, high salary and everything. But what about their freedom? I know that you want to put the restriction, but as you know, if you put any person, any in the restrictions, company will always have a benefit of recruiting that person instead of the free person. Who want the just like as a free person? If you are giving them the opportunity of a restricted person, surely the company is going to prefer them. The reason is a college kid, how brightest he is, right? Obviously, he has a starting salary. Okay. Obviously, if the person is restricted, his salary will be always restricted for the life. Okay. So if you are just like saying that really you want to make that competitive, ideally you should give them the freedom, because in 6 months, the kids who are coming out from the college, if he has the freedom to choose his employer, soon the gap between the American worker and this worker will be very negligible. So then company will start preferring who is the more valuable resource for them. But
Right.
here
I
exactly
totally agree with that, Odie. We call it indentured servitude. You know, it's a return to the old plantation. You're here, you can't leave. But don't you think, gentlemen, what's even it's the employer that gets to choose if they'll sponsor you for a green card. Am I correct?
Yes, and the more worrisome part is that if you read the employment-based green card, in full para, you will never heard that your national origin is the most important. Your skill doesn't matter. How many patents you have doesn't matter. Finally, it matter only is that where your national origin is, even not where your birth is. Okay, so you are saying that California, which is the largest population in the USA, I will give the same number of green cards. Okay, what exactly I will be giving to the smaller state? And now you are saying that California people, wait, I have already elected you 5 green cards, and I will give the same to the smaller country. It doesn't matter. You are waiting, 100 people are waiting there. I don't care about that.
Well, I'll
Even
tell you
died
what
with the
my
COVID.
pushback is there. You got to look at the history of the country caps, Audie. We didn't have country caps prior to 1965. When my mother came to the United States in 1952, they only let out 78,000 green cards that year. It was highly restrictive, highly regulated. Like, she actually appeared in front of an immigration officer twice a year until she was naturalized. There were no employment visa programs. There were some, temporary workers who are allowed to come up, and work in the fields in the Southwest, but that's it. It was highly restrictive. And to get to your point,
but do you think that after coming on all those visa in the asylum in anywhere, the national origin is the important?
No, but yeah, let me tell you why it's
Whatever
important. Let me just finish, Audie, and I'll let you speak. I'm sorry, but it's important to understand the history. So prior to 1965, the vast majority of immigrants were coming from Europe, specifically Northern Europe, like my mother. And the idea was to be more fair in this. So what they said was they limited participation from any one country to just 5% of the total green card given away that year. So this is actually much less discriminatory, Audie, than it was in the past, because there were actually, we restricted Asians in the past. We restricted other groups, Africa, Latin America in the past. So it's much more democratic today than it was. Now, because so many Indians subscribe to the H-1B visa, and it's not really a temp visa, even though when you came to the US, you said you understood it was a temporary visa. It is a dual intent visa. Now, you're able then, if your company sponsors you, which I think is wrong, and I think we both agree there, you can get you can get it, you're in the green card queue. And it's because of those restrictions that there's so many Indians in the green card queue. And it's anywhere from 80 to 134-year wait, as opposed to 2 years at most for anyone else. But that's the history, Audie. Please go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to say that you might think that it is fair. Do you think that when exactly COVID vaccine is just like a minimum, you can give the same number of COVID vaccine to California and the smaller state? No. But again, leave that part, okay, apart. The question is not that these people are coming from the India and now. That's what we are saying. If government wants, they can put if they don't want the resource from a big country, put the restriction in the H-1B. But it cannot happen that, okay, you will bring the people on just like for a study and for work. But when they are asking you, people are thinking, we are living in different countries and we are not American only because of our origin. Otherwise, we are American, same like any other citizen. So we already lived in this country for so long, and still, if we are called because of our birth country, that's what exactly unfair. If the country is saying that, okay, you are living in India, how many people will be coming from India and putting that restriction, still we can think that as a fair. The reason being is that people are living in the India. You are not discriminating after bringing them in the USA. The current laws just like it works that way. Okay, there is no restriction on H-1B. There is no restriction on student visa. People are here, and you are just like saying which is the dual intent visa and everything. But just like a thing from the perspective, okay, those who are coming in the USA first time, even they might be not knowing all the state of the USA. Who just like even just like if you try to go and directly try to find out where the national origin discrimination is written in all the visa articles, you will find it very hard. You will only realize that 7% restrictions once you will be in the backlog. Your date is not moving for 3-4 years. And then you realize what exactly happening. Then you find out, okay, your country is large. Second point, do you know what is the third country from where the most people are coming? Where is the fourth country from where exactly the employment-based and H-1B are coming? If you compare their population,
I know the next one is China. I think the next one is the Philippines.
Yeah. So if you compare just like a Philippines population, right? The India, a small state, is bigger than just like the Philippines, right? So if you are just like giving the same number of green card to them, and just like take an example, if California people are buying Tesla, and you're saying a lot of people in California buying the Tesla. No, the reason is that obviously that is a rich state, but again, we have a large.
But
large
it is a
population.
stereotype. Yeah, I agree. I get it.
No, miss, I'm just like saying in the South America, you cannot compare a small country and Mexico in the same breath, right?
But you see, I think we can, Audie, and I'll push back on you there. If the H-1B visa was complementary to the American labor force, I would say, sure, let's work through something here. In fact, I'm going to tell you about how I actually mapped something out with, I did a podcast with Shalab Kumar a while back, and a couple people from Indian television and networks. And we actually came up with a solution, but I digress. I push back because the people here on H-1B visas, now maybe you're not part of this, but you look at Walt Disney, Northeast Utilities, SoCal Edison, Abbott Labs, Vanguard, Facebook. People on H-1B visas have been brought in. They've outsourced their IT operations to Indian-based consulting firms like Tata Consultancy, Infosys, Wipro, even non-Indian IT, Deloitte, my old alma mater, Ernst & Young, and others, and they've displaced American IT workers. very skilled, highly experienced, competent IT American workers. So you need to understand you're not going to get a lot of sympathy saying you came here as part of a visa program that has really hurt a lot of American workers. Now, it's helped to maximize profits
No,
for
so
U.S.
I will just
corporations.
like add one point
Sure, go for
here
it, Odie. Sorry.
that when exactly, yeah, when you say that people get replaced, I understand that. Okay, if I mean I have a full sympathy, just like even tomorrow I will be replaced, right? Because obviously young generation will come, they will work in the less salary, and if company is not finding value, they will be not keep giving me the money. But even just like the American worker, right? Those who are the citizens, right? Even they will come out from the college, surely they will replace another people. However, I will just like put another point. Why exactly? I know that that is not the real point, but we are saying that how exactly corporations should run. They should just like take care about the people. But when exactly American laws, when exactly they are discriminating the people after living in the USA, you are saying it's fine. A corporation which runs for the shareholder, okay, they just like a run for. So just like I take example, if USA needs the oil, they bring from the Middle East, right? Because obviously the gasoline exactly they need. So similarly, if they need the talent, they are bringing from India. They are getting the talent. Now, after bringing those talents, you are saying, no, you will stay in the different queue. I will give the green card to the Philippines. I will give the green card to all other countries. But no, you can only stay as a industrial worker, as a second-class resident. And you think the civil rights laws, which clearly says that national origin discrimination is against the law in the employment. The country where Declaration of Independence says that all men created equal, but you are treating him H-1B coming from Philippines and coming from India differently, and you are thinking that corporations should be caring about not about their profit, but they are caring about the values. This is completely contradictory.
The problem,
if we want
Audie,
to stand
is
for the values, then we need to stand across the values.
the problem, Audie, is the legislative process here in America is very corrupt. The Immigration Reform Act in 1990 that created.
We all lived, right? It is great. That's why we came. Yeah.
Yeah. The Immigration Reform Act in 1990 that created the H-1B visa was designed to displace Americans. And like I said earlier, it was designed to be restrictive on the people they brought over because you were being brought over to initially do knowledge. And again, it's not all Indians. I mean, prior to 1990, and I think Joseph Campbell spoke about this in the early 1990s or 1980s, because he was talking about when you see, and he was talking about mystics and healers and everything coming from India. He said, you're seeing the best of the best. And doctors at that time. I mean, we had a shortage prior to 1990 of physicians in rural areas in the U.S. And the people coming over were really, really skilled. It wasn't part of a cattle call. But after 1990, we got away from finding, let's say, setting up a recruiting station at Indian Institute of Technology and saying, we want the best and the brightest. What we were doing was saying, we're going to displace Americans with these workers, and we're going to do the knowledge transfer and eventually transfer those jobs to low-rent countries. Like, for instance, IBM employs more people in India than anywhere else in the world. This is what's happening, and we're all caught up in it. I have to fight this, push back against it through the spectrum of an American citizen and how this is harming us.
Kevin, I think, okay, let me bring a different light to the issue. If we look at how technology and how code is developed, does it matter the code is developed on this land or Indian land or African land or anywhere? Especially as a user, we are all playing in the cloud above, beyond earth. So when the software is developed, software by design is developed crossing the boundaries, because software doesn't know whether it's developed for an American, a Canadian, or an Indian. It cannot differentiate. So just thinking from a perspective of American versus Indian versus Canadian doesn't help us all here, because we are moving into a new age, and especially with AI, this age is gonna even change further.
Right. In fact, we see it changing now.
Yes,
Last year in 2023, I don't know if you know this, Atal,
uh-huh.
there were only 700 new net STEM jobs created in the U.S.
Uh-huh.
After thousands of, and understand, this is after, all these firings, only, and position eliminations, only 700. But at the same time, we have over 100,000 STEM people graduated from colleges here in the U.S., 85,000 H-1Bs coming in, all these OPTs coming in, and they're chasing fewer and fewer opportunities.
Yeah, that just, and I mean, that just tells us the state of this, in America, about how jobs are changing. At the same time, I think we need to understand how capitalism actually works as a system. Capitalism, the capital goes to the person who can get the job done in the least cost. Capital is always looking for the most efficient way to solve that problem. Now, if there is, and capital doesn't look into the eyes of an American versus Indian either. And that's the whole thing about capital in the world. Capital goes where there is innovation, and capital goes to the labor, where this labor can do that work in the easiest and the most optimized way. Now, whether we talk about outsourcing it or bringing this immigrant into America, both the choices are because there is labor which can do the job at a capital for this capital in the most efficient way. And I think these are the perspectives we should look at, how the landscape is changing. It's not about America versus Canada or versus India. It's about how our software industry is, on what shoulder it is standing on. The shoulders it is standing on, it is beyond humans living in this country versus this country. We are going to a global world. And in this situation, what we need to understand is how we are thinking in a way where we do not let exploitation of human beings, irrespective of whether they are in India or America or Canada. We just cannot allow that to happen. If that means gutting the whole H-1B system from day one, and we let these jobs go to wherever the capital can go, like Boeing and Airbus are now going to India just because their capital is moving. Capital is shifting hands.
Well, yeah, because they're getting software engineers for $9 an hour. And unfortunately, we have planes falling out of the air, which, my father flew for Trans World Airlines for 30 years. He ended his career on the 747, probably the most stable aircraft ever built by Boeing. I wouldn't get it. I would have questions getting into a Boeing 737 MAX right now.
And so as a former Boeing CEO is saying this very same thing, right? I mean, Boeing used to be an engineering powerhouse.
Yep.
Helped us go to the moon and everything like this. Now they're a profit first company, and you see the deterioration there.
Correct.
But I get what you're saying. Oh, go ahead. Finish that
Yeah,
up.
I mean, what I'm saying is, yes, these are the fundamental things, and we want to ensure quality in the world, right? Whatever we do it with quality. And to ensure quality, we need to understand whichever labor is doing it, they do it in the most efficient and the most quality way. We cannot degrade. And I think quality versus quantity, that is a very different discussion about how to ensure quality and not play the.
I'd love to have that conversation with you, Al.
Yeah, that is
at a different time. We'll do that.
Yeah, at a different time. But I think my theory here is, and what I am advocating for, is you cannot let a human being be exploited in the hands of a system of a government, a constitution that has been established and we have been following since 1776. That, hey, this is the declaration of independence. And this, along with this, we offer equality as to everyone. And we live in a country, when I came to America, first world country, it's about merit. Like from me, my upbringing, from someone who did not grow up in a rich family and built life from scratch, it was about merit. But here I'm realizing I came up to this place all on merit, and here my merit is not getting appreciated.
And that's, to me, is a great tragedy at all. I mean,
Yeah.
there is that term best and brightest, and it's being abused because they're just saying, oh, yeah, they're trying to tell us skilled workers are highly skilled. Well, because I start with the premise, every job out there requires a modicum of skill, but high skilled talent, that's rare. I ended up being interim CEO of a tech company, and the chairman and founder was from Poland, and he had gotten his PhD in physics from Caltech, brilliant guy. And he was a firm believer in, like you're talking, we have to identify the talent because the talent will create the opportunities for everyone.
Correct. Exactly.
And you talked about like on the shoulder, standing on the well, the problem that I have with a lot of people who point to like all these Indian CEOs now of like Google and Facebook and these companies, they don't understand, no Indians were involved in founding Twitter, Netscape, Mozilla, Netflix, Oracle, Apple, Uber. Intel was founded by Gordon Moore and Robert Noyce. And when you look at what took to get there, we can go back. I mean, literally 1904, Owens got his glass shaping patent, which allowed ultimately the tubes and everything to become economical to produce. 1857, steel production was optimized by Kelly to the point where we had a third of the world's production by 1900.
I just want to just like add here, right? Even just like when you are saying that from 1990, the USA exactly start bringing the talent from the world, because the computer has grown that way. And today, America is just like is a superpower. Surely the computer and software has a role to play. Okay, means you cannot just like think that, okay, I will not bring the talent and still I will be in the top of the world, right? So obviously the software computer has given the advantage. And even just like assume that, okay, no innovation, just like as you are quoting, happened, okay, from those origin. I don't know from those origin people were there in the USA or not, okay.
Oh, no. Everyone I mentioned,
innovation, right?
United States.
Sorry?
Every like phonograph, typewriter, air conditioner, first Technicolor movie, all the United States. First electromechanical adding machine, United States. The electrode that created the diode for television,
again,
1906. So you're standing on big shoulders.
I hope you remember that many of those are migrants, right? Those Einstein was
No.
Elon Musk
I
is a
just
migrant,
pointed
right?
out to you
Those are
they were not
all
migrants.
American born,
yes, there were migrants that did innovate here in the U.S. But what I pointed out to you,
that's why we all came to innovate.
Look at
but
Bell
what
Labs.
exactly happening? We came for innovation now, but we have been tied as a bonded labor. We have been not given the opportunity to innovate. Even just like when I came,
but
I was.
I mean, 24% and 14% respectively
labor, right?
of the people who have advanced degrees in the U.S. live in Silicon Valley area, Bay Area, and they only represent 9% of the patents.
So here's how I would say, Kevin, about that point. I think I have a lot of respect for America and Americans and how they have always followed the path to truth and knowledge. And that's what differentiates Americans from any other country in the world. I have a lot of respect for Americans, and I'm very grateful to be able to see what America has achieved and how Americans have led the way. Be it inventions, be it anyway. Like America is a democracy since 1776, and India got independence in 1950s. So there is a lot of heritage and a lot of that free democracy and a free country that America has from a long time, well before India. And that's why India, in a way, if you think about it, we look forward to America, we learn from America, and that's how we have been growing our economy in a lot of ways. And the advantage of America has been leading from the front, which means you face a lot of challenges. And these challenges are going to come to other democracies who are following the same path too. Now, with the invention of these technologies, we have an advantage that we can learn what did not go well and figure out those things in a better way, So that is the second mover's advantage, which probably India has in some ways. Second mover advantage exists. But overall, what I'm saying is I have a lot of respect for Americans and how they have been on the path of knowledge and truth. And my whole appeal here on this show is I am asking for the same freedom that Americans who had in the last 200, 300 years, where they were able to freely think, a country built by free thinkers like Benjamin Franklin, who have created a country on the basis of ideas and not religion or race or any kind of discrimination, because that's what we want to show the world as the power of a free will. That when you are free, you can create anything you want. And these are the results, the names of the people you shared. These are the results of that free thinking, of that free will, of that free humanity that able to create. And what I am asking for in a way is just that as immigrants come to this country, we do not discriminate that on the basis of where they are coming from. We show them the path through the morality and their character. The strength of their character should determine, and then we provide them a path to freedom in a way which is easy to describe, not like 100 years to get a green card and restrict them, but to show them a path of enlightenment as being the leaders in the world.
And John, one thing, and then jump in. Prior to 1965, that's the way it was. The process was defined. Like when my mother came here, she was on a path to a green card. She had a sponsor who was pecuniary liable for her. She had to report to a immigration officer twice a year for an interview to make sure she was still working, healthy, all that, because she would be deported if she wouldn't. And my dear Irish mother would say, and at the end of the interview, he'd always ask me that awful question. I'm like, what, Mom? He goes, he would ask me, are you doing anything else to make money? And she's like, no, she grew up on a dairy farm in Ireland, Of course not. But it was highly regulated. It was efficient, and it worked for the immigrant, and it worked for the native born. Go ahead, John. You had something to say.
Yeah, no, I just actually, I don't know if I'm changing the course. I don't know how long we're going to go on this.
We got another 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, part of the reason I saw some of the statements you made on Twitter, and for most of the folks at home, they wouldn't necessarily know your experience here, right? I mean, so I mean, ostensibly you're here, you're working, you're living, you're eating, you got a place to stay, but in some of your recent Twitter posts, you use the word bondage, and I think in some of our back and forth, we both agreed it was this indentured servitude is probably the place where you're at now. I mean, how is your working experience now like that? I mean, please paint that picture, because it's unfair to you. I work with people, they work long hours. They had to they had to get up at like 2 a.m. to call back to India, and they're sometimes off to 4 to 4:30 a.m. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. And then they had to go to work at 9, right? So their sleep was disrupted, and they stayed at work for 12 hours. So what is your experience? Why would you consider it bondage and or indentured servitude?
Yeah, I think I would let Odie go after me, because I mean, my experience has not been that bad, because as a free thinker, I am very open to going back to India, and I consider myself as an asset more than any other country. So I don't think I have to struggle through that. And I was here to learn, and my job by advocating for these rights is to ensure that human rights are respected in the world, because I know its countries can change, kingdoms can change if we read history, and I just do not want any human being to go through this suffering where they are feeling exploited in any country, in especially in a democracy. Democracies provide the highest power of freedom, and that is to be respected, and we have to continue ensuring that happens. Now, yes, I am lucky. The reason I would call this as like more of a bonded labor is the world still works on a simple concept that Maslow gave long back to us, Maslow hierarchy of needs. And the Maslow hierarchy of needs work on a basic needs of human being about clothing, shelter, and able to just like have a land to clothing, shelter, and basic needs. And what is happening with immigration, and when you keep a H-1B immigrant for 100 plus years on a 60-day period, you threaten their shelter, you threaten their basic needs every 60 days or every moment, because they can only have 60 days. For people who are having kids in the country, and their kids are going to education, getting education in American schools, especially because when you grow up, you would want to have a family just like any American. And when you have kids going to school, and you know that your kids would have to leave the whole school and move to another country, it is a problem. When you have to choose your partner of from a certain country, because you do not know where you're gonna live, and you cannot make those decisions for yourself, it is a problem. And also, yeah, I mean, also when you want to buy a house or decide where you want to settle, you can't make those decisions when you are on a temporary visa for 100 plus years of your life. Now the question that comes from a lot of people is that why don't you just leave back to India? And I think a lot of Indians, by the way, are also realizing it, that this system is designed where an immigrant from India is not a winner. It's a losing value proposition, because employers are also moving back to India, and the jobs and the pay of jobs in India is also increasing. So a lot of people are moving back. Some of my friends recently moved back to India, just realizing of this, how this system is changing. But yeah, I think yes, people can move, but we need to understand how human beings work on Maslow hierarchy of needs. Like, you do not realize everything in when you move, and that's why you can never give an argument that when you moved you knew this is a temporary visa. It's only as you continue living your life after 2 years and 3 years that, hey, now it's time, I want to get married, or I want to have kids, I want to live just like life of another citizen of this country, and the government is going to have control over my life for the rest of my life, 100 plus years. Then I call it the whole model of like freedom changes into very much a model of slavery. And I do not believe that we are living in an age where any human being should feel this way, living in a first world country like America. And that's a problem worth solving. And we should all put our heads together on how to solve this problem. It's not about America or India, it's about ensuring that human rights are not violated, irrespective of where these people live.
Okay, Audie, please go ahead.
Yeah, the same as Atal, what exactly mentioned. We just like have a sleepless night, not because of our companies. Company exactly are well. That's why they are in the top of the world, right? Otherwise, obviously, you think that if company is just like exploiting anyone, and even I don't agree that the company just like a replace just like over the shoulder, because I saw some post on the Twitter, but this is against the law. If you have a direct proof that okay, the any worker has been removed and just like replaced by another one, there could be a case against them, those companies. So I don't believe, but I understand when company has the opportunity of recruiting it, obviously the choices are different. To whom do they recruit? And second thing, as people will be more restricted, they are going to bound by that company. So some American worker have a problem. in the company, okay, they will be thinking what to do, whether I can change the job. But if a restricted and bonded worker has a problem, he doesn't have a choice. Okay, he will have to, even just like he can just like not ask for the promotion, he cannot ask for the many things, right? Because obviously he has been given as a bonded labor by the law. So what exactly choice he has? So we are not living the sleepless night because of our company, but we are living because of the American law. Because now it is a discriminating. When exactly I came to the America, I have a 2-year-old son, right, who is right now in a high school, high-tech high school, right, kind of a premier high school. But he is going to age out. And you are just like thinking a person who have been forced to just like design his next few years, just like thinking what is going to happen. Obviously, he will have a sleepless night. And again, when you just like think that you are not in this green card backlog because of, okay, there is a queue. No, it is not because of that. It is because of the discrimination. When in employment, the national origin discrimination is against the law, civil rights law, okay, how a employee can be discriminated in giving the green card? So you have just like look like it's completely contradicting the value that exactly America has been built on. And here, what we are talking about on the Twitter, many people are still coming, okay? And they might be coming if we are not just like informing them. So first exactly goal we are doing is we are informing the American worker also. So if right now there are millions, if you are not going to advocate, this crowd will be growing. Either you can ban the H-1B, it doesn't matter for any Indians, any country, right? If America doesn't need the resources, they will have to find the opportunity somewhere else, back in the India. Mm-hmm. But you cannot just like bring here, and once exactly they are bonded, this million list will be keep growing. If people cannot compete with the new workers.
Can I interject for a moment, Odie? As I'd mentioned earlier, a couple years ago, I did a podcast. It was never published. And one of the people on it was Shalab Kumar, who's head of the Republican Hindu Coalition here in the United States. Mm-hmm. And there were several people from Indian news agencies on it. And at that time, we were fighting elimination of the country caps with SB 386. And the deal I offered was this, and it kind of, everyone's jaws dropped. I said, tell you what, you support us on a bill that would eliminate the H-1B visa program. After we eliminate the H-1B visa program, you can then do whatever you need to do to petition Congress to cure the H-1B visa logjam, and we wouldn't resist it. Because to me, it's about trends. I would be happy to absorb those here in the H-1B visa logjam, but I want to see H-1B eliminated, and I want to see, and I know you are the beneficiary, Atal, of the OPT program, but unfortunately, the Supreme Court wouldn't hear John Miano's Washtec versus DHS case, in which he accurately and factually argued that the F-1 is a student visa, not a work visa. It was an agency in the government, not the Congress, that said, oh, let's create OPT and turn it into a 3-year program, which is great for universities because they make a lot of money off of it. And that's again, gets into the corruption of American politics and all this. But I'd be happy to support clearing the queue, but I have to see these highly exploitative and job displacing programs eliminated. And I think if a company wants to bring someone over, they should be able to get them a green card. You know, we'll have to have limits, but it would be really, a look for high-skilled immigrants as opposed to programs that are ultimately hostile to everyone.
Those green card exactly means, see, if the person is in different country, I don't believe that putting the country restriction is a problem, kind of, okay? Because country surely has a choice from where exactly they are bringing. Okay, some even country were just like a fully restricted. Those who don't do the transaction with any other world, right? Even North Korea is right now, okay, who doesn't do the business. China doesn't allow YouTube to run. Those are the country. Those are just like running independently. But only problem is that person you are saying that okay, ban the H-1B. We are okay. Why we are caring about the H-1B? It's the companies, it's the government who is going to compete in the world. Okay, they need to think whether they need the resources or not. Okay, why as a worker we will be thinking and supporting the H-1B. We don't have anything with the H-1B. Okay, people are brought in this here. The people who are living in America, ideally they are the Americans. They are not getting the green card, but the person who is coming just now, you want to reserve the green card for them, and you are thinking, no, not till the time H-1B is getting banned. I don't know whether the company and government will anytime listen to that. I mean, it is kind of a that, okay, I will use only American gasoline. I will not bring any gasoline. Even my country is like a suffer. I will not bring any gasoline from the Middle East. I will not bring any
Odie,
any
to
hardware
push
item
back
from
for a
China.
moment, if you allow me to interject.
That's country to decide.
We have plenty of gasoline here in America. We graduate more than enough STEM workers for the STEM jobs that are out there. The problem
I
is
agree.
things like the H-1B visa have created what Norm Matloff called an internal brain drain. Because what happens? I've talked to so many American tech workers. They run up against this wall of Indian recruiters for jobs here in the U.S. And we know what's going on. It's all very tribal. So, yeah, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree. See, I agree. See, when exactly there is a program, okay, obviously no program in the world runs on just like 100% purity, right? Same way exactly if the government doesn't run always on purity. Oh, I will only work for America benefit and American people benefit. It doesn't happen, right? There is always a room of just like people just like come to America because they still 98%, 90% exactly it has just like a matured process, right? Sometimes exactly some country has only 10% mature process. People don't go there, right? So I won't say that okay, there is not problem. Problem is there. Obviously, there is always a chance of improving. And I agree. If country already has 1 million people who are in the backlog, and if government and company think that okay, we don't have a green card to give to them, then why they are bringing more people on H-1B? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Either they will have to decide, or whether they need the resources. If they don't need the resources, at least they can block bringing the new people on H-1B.
Yeah, because as you aptly stated, Audie, it's a supply and demand thing in that you know that you yourself could be pushed out by a new arrival on the H-1B visa program because they'll work for less. In some cases, I've talked to H-1B workers who've had to give kickbacks to their employers. It's a highly exploitative system. And again, I'm willing to work and wheel and deal.
I mean, as I mentioned, ideally, if they don't want the H-1B to be exploited process, okay, as soon as exactly employee lands here, employer has only 2 months to cover their costs. Okay, whatever exactly they put on the H-1B application, because these are happy.
Oh yeah, there's no opportunity. Those things are rushed, rubber stamped. It's crazy. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no meritocracy in it as to we're getting the best and the brightest. And
see, again, I will just like when exactly you are saying best and brightest, I will just like add you one point there. When company has this kind of restricted process, the first person who will leave the America, who is the innovator, okay, those person will leave first, okay, rest will be left in the America. Because when exactly you are saying best and brightest, when you want to bring the best and brightest, those will be getting the opportunity. And when exactly people are saying that more Indian are subscribed to H-1B because other people are getting directly the employment-based green card.
No,
H-1B is only left for
I'm going to
India.
be upfront with you, Audie. I've spoken with it also a lot of H-1B visa workers. And when we talked about having a coalition form, you know, we don't talk to the folks at Immigration Voice. We're pretty hostile towards them. But the rank and file we talked to, and we said, look, work with us to raise the prevailing wages at least. No, they know why they're here. They're because they're exploitable.
No, but it's
And
there in the
they
Eagle
know
Act, right?
it's the
They are
cheap
raising the prevailing
salaries.
wages.
So in the current, Kevin, if I remember, in the new the law, the new bill that is there right now, it has
Oh,
a
it's not going to go in. You're talking about the Ukraine border bill, the supplemental appropriation bill that came
no,
out
no,
last
it
Sunday.
is HR, I think 6542. It's a kind of like on the Eagle Act. It's
Oh,
another bill.
Eagle Act. Yeah, that
If
won't go anywhere.
okay, yeah, I think if we can get support for this, this has an increase in the prevailing wages as a provision in this bill, where it actually helps American workers too. You know, I
But I'll
think
tell you what, we won't support it, Adal, because again, before we eliminate country caps, before we do these things, I want to see these programs eliminated. What?
Kevin, I think what is happening is we are kind of fighting with each other while we are on the same side, and
Oh,
we are
sure. Without, I mean, that's how it's done. We're put. This is a cage fight, and
yeah, I
it's
think
for instance,
yeah.
when we came on the
Okay,
scene with U.S. tech
I will just
workers.
I want to add one more point here. Okay, to just see whether you can just support. Okay, I understand that obviously the biggest advantage American and even just any worker will get if H-1B gets just removed. Obviously, it depends upon the government and company, and I agree with just a government will listen more towards the capital than just a. But I will just put a one point, right? If you are not going to remove the country cap, I mean just you're not giving the green card to people who are already living in the USA, what is going to happen? The H-1B, right? Right now, the people are going to come on H-1B also and employment-based green card also. So the total number of people that max can come is around 200,000, right?
Well, and
So
all
because
the
both will
all
be
the
adding
you're
up.
talking H-1B, L1, OPT, all the programs, because
No, L1,
85,000 are
L1
current,
exactly.
but then about 40,000 more come on unrestricted programs for like universities, government, things like that, nonprofits.
Yeah, but I think they only people who can just live a long term in the USA once exactly they have been allocated a visa through H-1B. H-1B program only exactly allows people to live beyond 6 years, right? So if they are coming through any other program, they will have to either secure the employment-based green card. But even
Hey,
for
I would
Indian,
be
exactly that
happy to
choice
see
is
that
not
as an
there.
emergency measure. Like, for instance, there should be an executive order out of the White House that says no more H-1Bs while these companies are firing STEM workers. I would be up for that. I'd be happy with that. I mean, I'd help you with that. And like I said, the reason, Adal, I won't support the Eagle Act is because it doesn't give us the reforms before it gives the benefits. You eliminate, like I said, and I've said this before, and trust me, no one, these HR 1044, S386, all these, what we consider very onerous bills, what probably would have happened if not for folks like U.S. tech workers and Connecticut tech workers. We push back. And I'm telling you, if you help us end these programs, we will stand back. We will not say a negative word if you want to clear the green card backlog. And you know, the Americans are a pretty generous people compared to a lot of other countries. But I'm telling you, the people that you would expect to oppose you will fall back. We won't say anything, but we have to have the reforms first. We have to get rid of these onerous programs first. And like you said, there's a huge backlog here of people with experience in STEM for us to draw on. And when you look at all the firings, we don't need these employment visas at this time.
Yeah, no, I think I hear you, Kevin. I think it's about what is that theory called as the hen came before or the egg came before or
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah. What
yeah,
chicken or the egg?
chicken or the egg problem. Yeah. So it's the chicken or the egg problem about what needs to happen first. And in my opinion, I feel, in the end, what is happening is as people get to know more and more information about what H-1B is doing for Indians down the road, people would not want to come. I mean, given how much I have seen people who are going back, especially the smartest people from IITs, they are
Yeah, I
now
was
going back.
surprised. I read a paper a year ago et al.
Uh,
Said the people that go back to India find themselves in very high positions and doing quite well.
yeah. In India, I think things have. So, America and India are pretty similar in my lens. I think America has been a democracy for a long time and has always shown the path of like, hey, this is how free world should mean. And India has been a great follower, learning from a democracy like America, and over all these years we have been continuing to grow along with America, and India has progressed very well in the partnership, just not in tech but in terms of knowledge about how to seek knowledge. And we all believe in coexistence in our philosophy and growing together. So I'm seeing a lot of benefit of America's leadership has helped India. And now even when you go back to India, there is a lot of value there. There are a lot of tech startups like Silicon Valley, like Atmosphere there in Bangalore. All my friends are building startups for India, for the world, doing great business, doing
Mhm.
great trade. They sell all around the world. Our infrastructure for fintech like payments called as UPI is a leading thing. And recently France is taking Indian students, Australia is taking students from India, and they are changing their PR policies. And I think Australia is changing it to give employment-based PR in 2 years because of just how kind of like knowledge seeking and hungry Indians are. And I mean, that's kind of, I'm privileged to be born in that country. And I'm also privileged to be living in a country on the other side, America. So I think overall, we are all on the same track. It's all about just finding like a synergy overall on which way we want to grow the world. And I would deny to think in a perspective of Indian versus American. I would like to think more from a perspective of all of us together in this global world, in this global economy, where all of us are growing together, reaching the stage of AI where AI wouldn't be able to differentiate between any race or religion or anything. We don't want it to do. So we are all together in this one consciousness and continue thinking from that perspective and improving the lives of. You are standing up for your community and I love it, and I'm standing up for my community and I love it. So I think all we have to do is continue to figure out what is the best way where none of our communities get exploited and they continue to see freedom and live on the path of their dreams and able to accomplish everything they want from earth.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Atal. We will agree to disagree on some things, but I think there are a lot of things we agree on. Audie, same thing. And I think that's why dialogues like this are important. And as I mentioned, I'm not beyond that. I have reached out many times to those that people think we're opposed with, to the people who are in the cage, essentially, and all of us are right now. It's set up to be that way. It's a matrix in a way. But
Yeah.
although I would love to think that we can kumbaya, there's kind of a chauvinism in what you said too. Indians love knowledge. Look, intellect, it's it flows uniformly across the world. There are
Yes.
no great countries in terms of, oh, here are all the geniuses. Now, there was a long time, for some strange reason, Brooklyn was home to many, many, disproportionately so, CEOs in America. I don't know why that was. Maybe it's just a tough place to grow up. Uh, but we again, I'm pitted to defend the interests of the American worker because, you know, they threw us overboard in the early 1990s with NAFTA, GATT, the WTO. They told us that these good paying manufacturing jobs didn't have an economic right to exist. Then they told us go code, and we did, learn to code, and we did. We went to university in the 80s and 90s and had the jobs, and then we got displaced. So it's a slugfest, but in the end, we're going to have to come to compromise and work a solution. And I think this conversation and others that I hope we have down the road will help facilitate that.
I'm
So,
very much looking
No,
forward
sure,
to
sure.
it, and I love that we are able to have dialogue about these topics. And I think there is so much power in just able to leave behind our own perspectives and think with an open mind together about me able to hear your perspective and you able to hear my perspective, and we come together to a better result. And I think that's all what we are looking for.
super. Adi, do you have anything very quickly to say before we sign off?
No, I think, thank you. And as you said, right, the dialogue is the most important, right? Everyone has their perspective. No one is just like doing unnecessary things, right? Surely they have a perspective. That's why they are advocating. And I fully agree. Okay, as if you just like a thing from a American worker perspective, surely it is just like going to create the discomfort. Okay, and I fully agree with that. But again, at the same time, a country which stands on creating the equal value, there is no point of keeping them in the indentured worker. If they have been kept at that way, it will be more challenging for other workers because now America is going to get the 60,000 around as an indentured worker and 140,000 as a green card worker. So you can think the competition will be always more difficult. So
Yes.
obviously it needs a reform, and I agree. Our ask is that whatever the Congress thinks that the next reform is this, but they should reform. If they are just like keep sitting and discussing, it doesn't solve the problem. Even just like it is a baby step, but reform needs to happen. You cannot just like sit on 1990. People have highlighted the problem. Whatever they think that this is the solution right now, they are thinking at least baby steps should be taken. Um, I mean, you can just like say that H-1B is the first baby step. Obviously, we don't have a problem. We can support you. I don't know whether the companies and government will agree on that or not.
Oh, no,
But we
we'll
don't have
have a
any.
fight. We'll have a big fight on our hands. But what the problem I've had in the past, I've been able to stop bad legislation, but I've not been able to get legislation through because I've not had support of Indians here in the U.S. who are enfranchised and can vote. Uh, they're looking to keep the door open for more of their own countrymen. What we need to do is slam that door,
don't you
say
think
we're all
that?
in this together.
But
Let's end these programs, and then let's clear up then let's get rid of the backlog.
I believe if you just like a think creating backlog will automatically kind of help in different way. But yeah, it's different perspective. But
Kevin,
it's
it
nice
might.
talking.
I think another perspective I'm thinking, though it might look like Indians want to keep door open for Indians, I think it is, to me, it's another perspective. And, as I'm in a very interesting journey in my life where I am slowly thinking about my next country and I'm trying to figure out what my next country would be. I think to me,
Norway.
it's more to me about thinking through about America at this point about like, okay, in a long run, I think you are building a very interesting point about that. Hey, American workers are capable for all these jobs and we don't need talent, So maybe another perspective for these Indians, even though it might look like that they are opening the doors for other Indians, maybe it's just about they still believe that we need foreign workers, and it's not about Indian workers, but more about foreign workers. So maybe it is not about the perspective. Maybe they have not heard your voice about how you feel that we do not need any foreign workers. And maybe there is a different level of compromise that needs to happen. And I'm solely talking about this from my perspective, where I would always want, if irrespective of the country I live in, I want to live with the smartest people on earth. It does not matter where the people come from. And I'm just very selfish about it. I want to live with the smartest people. And so maybe their perspective is to ensure that smartest people keep coming more than these people from India. So maybe we go one step deep about thinking like, hey, H-1B visa is not working. Then what that system looks like, which is even better than H-1B for us to be able to get a better high quality people into our system. And that is me talking about someone, if I want to live in this country, then what would that look like to ensure?
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned earlier, Francis Cisnes said it best. You know, let's just say we have a quote of 85,000, not visas, but green cards to give out. Not, don't put people on this freaking path. You know, we have, if you want them here temporarily, 6 months, no more. That's it. You should be able to say, look, we met this person. We really like them. We vetted them. America, let's go to our government, get him a green card, and we will sponsor him for that green card. That's the way it should work. And again, there should be all kinds of regulations in there, you know, making sure these people aren't being exploited. Maybe
I think I like your point. So you are saying that bring someone here for 6 months at max and then get them a green
Oh,
card.
no. What I'm saying is, no, that we could have something like that, but ideally, green card right up front, not that they have to be in any kind of queue where, because the company has identified them and said, this is a high value person. We want them, we need them. Here's the position they're going to fill. This is the wages we're going to pay. Bring them in here, put them on a path to citizenship, but stop all this employment visa rigmarole.
I mean, I kind of like it. I feel like what I'm realizing from this, if this happens, then first of all, only the highest qualified people are gonna come, which means this will ensure that people do not come in their 20s. People probably gonna be in their 30s unless they are very exceptional. And by that time, they also already have enough time to think where they want to base up their life. I feel like by 30s, people realize, a lot of people realize whether they want to move to another country or not, which will ensure that people, only the people who really want to move here actually end up moving here. And this changes the dynamics of the education system for sure, because international people are not going to come in that fashion as they come right now.
Well, Atal, we're kind of running up against the time wall. John, do you have anything to say in parting comments?
John, you're muted.
Yeah, look, it's been a great discussion. I'm really feeling for you guys. At any point in time, they could, rip the carpet right out from under you guys, and you got to be sent home, right? And I think you're aware that for every job you guys take here, there's one less for an American. It's a finite pie, right? But I'm not here to make you guys feel guilty about that. I think we've come to agreement that our current immigration system is screwed up, right? And you guys are facing the consequences, and so are we. I had been doing some reading a little bit before, and like, this isn't the first time in history that we bumped up against this, right? Yes. I mean, are you guys familiar with a guy named Abraham Lincoln? You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is he now?
He's known for abolishing slavery, and he took it from John Adams' son, the John Adams II.
Yeah, actually, there was. In fact, it was John Adams' grandson that helped to inform him on a lot of that. Yeah.
So he took that back. So if I remember, John Adams' grandson was on the floor when he collapsed. And then Abraham Lincoln said, I will take you.
Actually, that was John Adams, but it was really his grandson that informed Lincoln a lot, because Lincoln wasn't an abolitionist per se, but he came around to it. Yeah. But go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, it's good that you guys know about him, and that's some great specific knowledge. I don't know if you know this, but he had to work for the first 22 years of his life. The way it worked back then, he had to give all his earnings to his father, and so he knew very well what it was like to not have a future, right? To have an unstable future. There was no self-determination there, right? So he knew very well, with the slaves around at that time, the free poor white men didn't have a chance themselves for this right to rise in life, right? So his vision was like you started out as a laborer, right? And you'd save your pennies, and pretty soon you could buy your own tools and do your own jobs for yourself. And then maybe at one point you could expand and then become an employer yourself of some new people coming up the line. That was his vision for America, this whole right to rise, right? So the current immigration system, you guys could have the rug pulled out from you at any second. That's on your side, right? Not to mention the 10, 12, 14, 16-hour days you have to work. But then on our side, we don't have the right to rise. We're deprived of the opportunity, and we're kicked to the curb with no recourse, right? So I mean, I think that continuing working together, more of these conversations, we're at the same point, right? The big 1% of people are controlling everything, right? And it's causing you guys, you're frustrated at work. You could have the carpet pulled out from under you. I've seen plenty of young kids coming out of college, talented coders. They really get it, but they're stuck on the help desk, right? So, and they want to make contributions. I've seen their own private projects. I mean, these guys are smart, right? So hopefully we can work together, our two groups, and figure this out for the good of both of us. Thanks.
Right on. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. This was a really special podcast. I think it's going to be helpful to our audience to listen to this, and looking forward to talking to everyone in the future.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Great talking with you all.
Right. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.